Hey everybody, Debbie here. Today to discuss with you Obsidian and a few of its variations of form. Black Obsidian is a very, very powerful stone crystal to work with. And it's something that you really need to respect its power. It is formed from molten lava that cooled so quickly it didn't have time to crystallize. So just thinking of that, you can just imagine the power contained within obsidian. It has no boundaries and no limitations. And it can transmute negative energy extremely fast. I mean, very, very, very fast. I'm going to share with you my very first experience with obsidian in a few moments. But at the same time, while it's transmuting that negative energy, it can bring out things about yourself that you need to address, face, resolve, and heal. And if you're not ready for that, then you may not want to work with obsidian until you are, because it will. It just brings it out. It's part of its properties. I've used it this way. I've seen it this happen this way. I've seen it transmute negative energy very quickly. I've used it that way. But it does bring out things that you need to face and resolve about your own personal self. It might be past trauma. It might be self-limitations that you put on yourself. It might be self-criticism or self-judgment. It could be any number of things that you might need to resolve. So if you're not ready for that, then don't use obsidian. It can bring negative emotions attached to those things that are unresolved. So think about that before you just jump in and use obsidian. Once you do start using it and you do resolve these things that come out, it can be your best friend and your best ally for protecting shielding your aura with protection, blocking negative energy that comes into your space or your aura. So I just really want you to be aware of its powerful energy of what it can do. But what it can bring out that you need to address too. It really is important to know that. And of course, this is not a replacement for medical care. If you need to seek medical assistance, please do so. But once you get past that, if you choose to work with obsidian, once you get past that, like I said, it can be your best ally and you will really enjoy your wonderful relationship with it. Here's a beautiful piece of black obsidian. Beautiful, beautiful black obsidian. I found it very helpful in working with this to resolve my self-doubt that I've carried with me for most of my life. It still comes up a little bit now and then, but not nearly as much as it had before. And when I was working with it for those reasons, it took me back to times in my childhood where I did not completely heal those times where they're very traumatic for me. So I had to work through a lot of that stuff that I was holding on to. And I'm still working on some of that stuff that I'm holding on to. But it is getting much, much better and much easier to deal with. So there are things that I just had to uncover and just face from my childhood that caused the self-doubt throughout my whole life. And I've also used obsidian in forgiveness work. Pair it with a rose quartz. I don't have one of those to show you. Very beautiful pink rose quartz. And that is really good for forgiveness work as a pairing, because this will draw out what needs to be forgiven, either of yourself or others. And the rose quartz helps soften and calm those emotions when they arise. And it helps the process so much easier. So pair it with rose quartz if you choose to work with it for self-healing purposes. I did do a video on that. It's in my YouTube library, Crystal Chat. So check that out for obsidian and rose quartz for forgiveness purposes. So black obsidian, I'd say, is probably one of the most common of the obsidians. And I just have a few here to show you today. It is really good to transmute energy or negative energy very quickly, very, very quickly. And it does put that protective aura around yourself. And it's very grounding and stabilizing and helps you feel secure once you remove past those emotional things that you've been attached to for so long. So let me show you a couple of other examples. This is a golden sheen obsidian. Look at that. Golden sheen obsidian. Now this can take you to future work, if you want to look into the future. And it shows you what needs healing, which all obsidian does. Golden obsidian's energy is gentler. All the other variations of obsidian are gentler energy. Not so in your face, like here you're going to have to face this now. It's a little bit easier. They just ease you into it a little bit better than the black obsidian. So it might be a better choice to work with another variation of obsidian if you choose to do some healing work with it. And this also, the golden obsidian also releases ego-driven issues, which many face. So that's a good thing. So beautiful golden sheen obsidian. Now I have a couple of silver sheen obsidians here, but it's really hard to see the silver sheen, and I don't know, can you see that? I hope you can. Anyway, this enhances meditation, but it's much gentler than the black obsidian by itself too. Here's another one you might be able to see a little bit better, the silver sheen. Silver sheen obsidian is harder to find than the gold sheen obsidian, but more and more is coming out now. Probably, I see more crystals come out when they're most needed in general. So I am seeing that kind of trend with the silver sheen obsidian right now. So more and more will start to come out. It is a gentler energy, and it shows the way to your most inner being to help you understand what you've gone through, what you're going through, that sort of thing. There's also Snowflake Obsidian. Beautiful Snowflake Obsidian. It is, again, gentler energy, but it does put that protective aura around you. All of these do. It is a very much more calming and soothing obsidian to work with. Overall, it teaches the value of the lessons you have to learn and why you had to learn them. They're all very similar in that fashion, but these other ones are a gentler way of handling it. And it also balances the body, mind, and spirit. There are a few others that I don't have examples of. One is a rainbow obsidian, which just displays amazing rainbow of colors on it, and it is just so beautiful in the sunlight, and it's just brilliant colors. It is gentler, it shields the aura, and it cuts the cords and hooks that have been attached to you. I feel that all of these do that, but again, this is a gentler way, and this is more so of that with the rainbow obsidian. Mahogany obsidian is kind of a deep red with black, again, gentler, very grounding, very protective, and it stimulates your spiritual growth. And then there are green and blue obsidian, which is clear. I don't have examples of those either. A lot of times those are synthetic, man-made. It's very hard to find the natural in the green and the blue obsidian. Those can also remove hooks in a gentler way and attachments and help you with astral travel, deep meditation, and communication with other realms. So let me tell you about my very first experience with obsidian. I was just starting my crystal journey. I was into it a couple years. I was self-learning so much myself by reading crystal books, and I took a hibiscus moon crystal course, and I had this heavy energy in my home, and I had a medium come over and show me where this energy was and actually confirm that it was a heavy energy. There was so much anger and resentment and misunderstanding and non-communication within our home life that I needed to figure out a way to resolve it and dissolve it once and for all. So a medium told me where it was in the home, and she didn't tell me what to do. With my own instinct, my own intuition, I was told to use obsidian to release that heavy pocket of energy in the home. So that same day after she left, I went and purchased 5 obsidian tumbles at the local, not so local, it's up the hill, crystal shop. And so I was very new, still new to crystal, use, but I knew enough that this was very powerful. And I knew that it would transmute the negative energy very quickly. And I knew there were consequences of using it also. So I went and purchased those 5 tumbles. I brought them home. And that night, I placed them over that space. I actually even used the dowsing rods first to make sure exactly where that pocket of heavy energy was. And they were going crazy. So I placed them over that space in a star pattern, because I'd learned a lot about grid work through my courses. And so I did it in a star pattern, one at each corner. And I connected the star pattern with a selenite wand, which I don't have right here to show you, with the intention to release all negative energy in this space. And I just let it be. Then I went to bed. That was probably about 8 or 9 at night. Then I went to bed. In the middle of the night, my spirit guides woke me up, like shaking me, like, "Wake up, Debbie." And I heard myself, "Wake up." And I heard the voice, "Take down the grid. It's done the job. Cleanse the stones, put them away, sage the space, and go back to sleep." And it was like this urgent thing. And I was like, "Oh my God." Okay. I was almost like fearful. Like, why? So I took down the grid. This was only up for like 4 hours, I'd say, maybe. I took down the grid. I went and I rinsed them off in water, cleansed them and cleared them, saged the space, saged the crystals, and put them in a box away in the closet. And then I went back to sleep and slept fine. The next morning, I used the dowsing rods check the energy in the space, and it was clear. There was no heavy energy. It just was no movement on the dowsing rods at all. So I felt it did its job, and it did release a lot of that heaviness that we were all feeling for so long. A lot of the crystals I have brought in and worked with over the years have helped that whole thing, and it is since completely gone. But looking back at it now, I know that my angels and guides were telling me to take it down, because I personally was not ready to face some of the things that I needed to face. I needed to work through a lot of my own emotional baggage that I was holding on to. And if it was all just thrown at me at once, it would have been too much for me to handle. So I understand that now. So use obsidian with great respect. Use it with respect for its great power. It is excellent to use to transmute negative energy, block it, and diffuse it. But really, I must be really clear on this. It can bring out things about yourself that you need to address. And if you are not personally ready for that, put the obsidian away and work with another stone until you are ready for it. You'll know when you're ready. I knew when I was ready, when I was dealing with self-doubt, that I needed to finally face those things that kept bringing those issues up over and over and over again. So that's when I brought out the obsidian, and Then I worked on some forgiveness stuff and brought out the rose quartz too. So it is an excellent stone to work with if you know how powerful it is. Respect it and learn what you can when you're meant to learn from it. I have clients that ask about, should I use this for, obsidian for certain things? I'm going through this and this and this, and I usually recommend something softer, calmer, until they're at a more stable state to handle its energy. So I hope you enjoyed this talk about obsidian. Crystal blessings until next time. Namaste and have a beautiful day.